Your kidneys filter out waste from 180 gallons of blood every day. This is equivalent to 36 5-gallon buckets. Despite the important job it does, we don't pay much attention to the kidneys, like we do the liver, heart, or brain. And yet, kidney failure is one of the most gruesome kinds of organ failure you can experience. The kidneys are involved in regulating multiple aspects of homeostasis. If they fail, several systems of the body will shut down. Your bones waste away, your blood becomes acidic, and your urine looks closer to black tea. In this video, we'll take a closer look at why kidney failure is one of the worst ways to go. Welcome to Dark Science. Your body produces three kinds of waste from metabolism: gaseous waste, solid waste, and liquid waste. Gaseous waste is made of carbon dioxide from the metabolic breakdown of sugar and fat. Solid waste is made of undigestible food, bacteria, intestinal cells, and salts. Liquid waste is composed of water and waste products from the metabolic breakdown of protein. Common products of protein metabolism are urea, uric acid, creatinine, and ammonia. As cells metabolize protein, they release these waste products into the bloodstream. These products are harmful to the body as they can change blood chemistry in high concentrations and induce inflammation. Protein waste is removed from the blood by being filtered through the kidneys. Let's take a look at how it happens. Blood first flows into the kidneys through the renal artery. The blood vessels branch off into smaller vessels till it reaches a triangular section of tissue called the medulla. Inside each of these medullas are millions of filtration units called nephrons. Blood flows into the nephron through a thin blood vessel called the glomerulus. The glomerulus coils up inside a sac called Bowman's capsule. When blood flows through the vessel, it passes through small porous openings called fenestrations. These fenestrations act as filters by removing excess water and metabolic protein products from the blood. Liquid waste passes through the pores and into a series of tubules, where it drains into the bladder as urine. Blood that has been filtered is pumped back into the general circulation. Now that you know how the kidneys work, let's see what causes them to break down and fail. First off, several things can cause kidney failure. Everything from genetic conditions to diseases, cancer, taking too much ibuprofen, and even direct trauma to the organ. However, these are rare causes and don't account for the majority of cases. If we're talking about the most common causes of kidney failure, it's diabetes, followed by chronically high blood pressure. According to the National Kidney Foundation, there are 140,000 new cases of kidney failure in the U.S. per year. 44% of these cases are caused by diabetes, and 20% are linked to high blood pressure. You hear about these conditions all the time, in commercials and at the doctors, but you probably never knew they could destroy your kidneys. Let's see how they actually cause kidney failure. First, with diabetes. Normally, when you eat a meal high in sugar, or glucose molecules get absorbed into your blood. The pancreas releases a hormone called insulin, which signals muscle and fat cells to absorb the glucose, to use as energy, or to be stored. In diabetes, specifically type 2, muscle and fat cells do not respond to signals from insulin, so they don't absorb glucose in your blood. As a result, glucose remains in the bloodstream for a prolonged period of time. Since it can't be removed from the blood by absorption, it's removed by excretion, via the kidneys. This is where diabetes starts to cause problems. The kidneys were not designed to filter out blood with large amounts of particulates. The high concentration of glucose being filtered puts pressure on the fenestrations, known as glomerular hyperfiltration. Over time, chronic exposure to pressure and mechanical stress causes the pores to become inflamed and stretched, making them leaky. You can't have your filtration system leaking, so the body repairs it with scar tissue. This scar tissue, though prevents further leaking, also seals the fenestrations and prevents them from filtering waste from the blood. Think of this strainer as the fenestrations. Liquid passes through it with no issue. When I add tape, or scar tissue, it covers the mesh, and it can't filter as much liquid. This is how diabetes leads to kidney failure. Exposure to high blood sugar puts too much pressure on the delicate glomeruli. This pressure causes leaks, which are patched up with scar tissue, which then prevents filtration. High blood pressure shares a similar mechanism for kidney failure as well. Chronically high blood pressure puts mechanical stress on the glomerulus. causing damage which is repaired with scar tissue. This scar tissue also blocks filtration capabilities, thereby decreasing the efficiency of the kidneys. Over several years, as diabetes or high blood pressure goes untreated or gets worse, more scar tissue builds up, decreasing kidney filtration. This causes a progression from stage 1 kidney disease all the way until kidney failure. Let's look at what happens in each stage of kidney disease, starting with stage 1. One way doctors measure how damaged your kidneys are is through a glomerular filtration rate test, or GFR. A GFR test measures how much blood your kidneys have filtered. An average GFR in a healthy individual is between 90 and 120 milliliters of blood filtered per minute. As the glomeruli become more scarred from each stage, the GFR will decrease. In stage 1, the glomeruli have such minor scarring that the GFR is between 90 and 100 milliliters of blood. It falls within normal range, so most people don't notice a problem. However, there is another, much more sensitive sign that indicates kidney damage: the presence of albumin in your urine. Albumin is a small protein abundant in the blood and is responsible for transporting hormones and fats. Though very small, it's still too big to pass through the fenestrations under normal conditions. However, when fenestrations become damaged and stretched, albumin leaks through into the tubules. It's carried to the bladder where it's excreted with the urine. Urine in stage 1 still looks normal and albumin will cease to appear when these leaks are patched with scar tissue. When one area of filtration shuts down, other areas that still function will have more filtrate passing through them, thus increasing the filtration pressure. This increases mechanical stress, thus causing more damage. By stage 2, filtration has dropped to 70 milliliters of blood per minute. Less filtering is occurring because more scar tissue has built up on the fenestrations. A creatinine test will show higher levels of creatinine, indicating an overall increase in protein waste in the blood. Urine color will still look normal, and minor symptoms like fatigue, frequent urination, and increased blood pressure may appear. Blood pressure increases as less water is being filtered out of the blood, thereby increasing the pressure. The urine still appears normal in color. At stage 3, the kidneys have been moderately injured. Fenestrations that are still functioning are exposed to higher and higher filtration pressures. Eventually, they give way, and a large concentration of blood proteins leak into the urine, giving it a dark yellow appearance. After the glomeruli have been repaired, the GFR drops to 50 milliliters of blood per minute. Symptoms in stage 3 include frequent urination, lower back pain from kidney inflammation, increased blood pressure, and loss of appetite. Something else happens during stage 3 of kidney disease. Remember in the beginning of the video, one of the side effects of your kidney shutting down is your bones wasting away? Well, that starts to happen in stage 3. In addition to filtration, regulating blood pressure, and balancing pH, the kidneys also help make vitamin D. Through an enzymatic process in the tubules, the kidneys convert a hormone called calcidiol into its active form, calcitriol, better known as vitamin D. You need vitamin D to promote calcium absorption in the intestines, so your body can use it for bone maintenance, nerve transmissions, and muscle contractions. As kidney function starts to decrease, less vitamin D is made, so your intestines absorb less calcium. This doesn't change the fact that your body still needs calcium for nerve transmissions and muscle contractions. The body fills this demand by leaching calcium from your bones. Thus begins the slow and painful degeneration of the skeletal system. By stage 4, kidney performance has dropped dramatically, and are only about 25% efficient. The GFR has decreased from 50 to now 20 milliliters of blood per minute. The kidneys have also started to shrink due to loss of nephrons and tissue atrophy from inflammation. Waste products like urea, ammonia, creatinine, and uric acid accumulate to dangerous levels in the blood and start to change the chemistry of the body. In high concentrations, ammonia acts as a neurotoxin by causing astrocytes to swell in the brain. Uric acid has a low solubility in blood but stays dissolved in low concentrations. However, in high concentrations, it precipitates out of solution and forms uric acid crystals. These crystals cause excessive itching on the skin, accumulate in joints causing gout, and form kidney stones. In severe cases, it can cause the appearance of uremic frost or crystallized urea on the skin. This happens when sweat-containing urea dries on the skin. Urea can also cause brain swelling, inflame the membrane around the heart called the pericardium, and induce GI bleeding. Creatinine itself is not very harmful, but is an important marker for kidney malfunction. As the body continues to retain more fluid, swelling occurs in the face, hands, feet, and ankles. This extra fluid also puts a strain on the heart, because it has to pump more fluid per contraction. Bones begin to ache from demineralization as more calcium is leached from the skeletal system. By this point, urine has turned a dark orange-brown, similar to the color of tea. Unfortunately, just as it's getting bad, it gets much worse. The low rate of filtration triggers a response in the kidneys to release an enzyme, called renin, in the tubules. Under normal conditions, when blood filtration drops, this means overall blood pressure is too low. The kidneys counteract low blood pressure by releasing renin. Renin triggers an enzymatic reaction that causes blood vessels to constrict, causing a spike in blood pressure to ramp up filtration. The problem is, the kidneys have low filtration not because of low blood pressure, but because fenestrations are blocked with scar tissue. When renin is released, blood pressure spikes, and any remaining fenestrations that are still functioning are destroyed. This brings us to stage 5, the final stage. The GFR is now equal or less than 10 milliliters of blood per minute. 90% of the glomeruli are non-functional, and protein waste is not being removed. The kidneys have officially failed. Swelling of astrocytes in the brain causes delirium and in some cases coma. Blood pH becomes acidic due to metabolic acidosis from kidney dysfunction. Fluid fills the lungs as it leaks through the pulmonary capillaries. The bones have been severely demineralized, causing awful pain and the inability to stand or walk. The limbs have also swelled as fluid collects in the tissues. Despite all these effects on the body, the individual is still alive, whether conscious or not. This is why kidney failure is one of the worst kinds of organ failure you can experience. It simply drags on, intensifying with each stage. The heart, however, cannot continue in this state for much longer. The excess fluid and blood has been putting a tremendous workload on the heart. It has to pump more fluid and push against an overfilled circulatory system. Eventually, the accumulation of fluid becomes too much, and the heart can no longer contract. So much fluid fills the ventricles that it becomes congested. The muscles cannot fully contract to pump blood into the lungs or the circulatory system. This is known as congestive heart failure, and is the fatal cause of kidney failure. Fortunately, with modern medicine, kidney failure is not always the outcome for diabetes and high blood pressure. Taking proper medication, losing weight, exercising, and maintaining a proper diet will prevent the conditions that cause kidney disease. There are treatments like dialysis that can filter blood when the kidneys can't. In extreme cases, kidney transplants are an option as well. This is why diet, exercise, and weight management are so important. If you don't take care of yourself for an extended period of time, your body will pay for it later in life. Thank you for watching Dark Science.